Tremendous here. Got another book review here for you. This book is, well, it's like a novella. It's not a huge long book or anything. It's called Wicked Gleam. It's by Risa Faye, who you might remember. I've already reviewed a book by her called Unlovely, and I actually like that one a lot. This one is more of a snippet. This is actually the free novella you get when you join her newsletter, and all that information will be in the description, so feel free if you want to check it out. It's a short book. It's 88 pages long, and it was published May 30th of 2019. It is in the paranormal and urban fantasy as well as super dark fantasy genres on Amazon. And like I said, it is a very, very short story. I believe it's kind of like a sampler, like a taste of, I'm guessing a series that she's getting ready to put out. I'm not 100%. I mean, she's got a lot of books out, but I believe it's possibly part of her Dark or Angels Falling book, and I believe the first one is Wounds, and it is out now. So if you do like this one, definitely go check out Wounds. And yeah, but she's got a whole bunch of books. If you check her out on what is it? Amazon Customer Authors Center or whatever, it shows you all that good stuff. So anyway, this book is super, super dark fantasy. It's weird because it's probably the shortest book I've ever read where I was going to do a review on it or anything like that. It's just not what I usually do on this one, but she asked, and I'm all for it. I really enjoyed her first book that I read, and this one, I didn't hate it, but I hated aspects of it, and I'll get into that. Basically, it's a story of a girl named Alyssa Hart. She goes by Allie, and she is caught up in the sex trade, human trafficking situation at the age of 15. And this is a little bit of a spoiler, but I don't want to throw you into this book unawares. It does have not super descriptive, but there's some teenage girl rape scene in there. It's not super descriptive or anything like that. It's actually pretty vague, but in my opinion, it really cut. I didn't like it. I didn't like it at all. There's no good way to put that. It disgusted me in a long ways. It just my opinion. I might be super oversensitive about this. It might just be my personality, but this is my review, and I'm trying to be honest. That part turned me off of this book so completely that it was hard to keep going. It isn't a regular thing. The author's just putting it in there in order to further the story, give you background to the main character, to know where she's coming from and everything. And I get that. I do. But it wasn't necessary. It's never necessary. It was worse than like a descriptive torture scene of a puppy, in my opinion. It was too far. It really made me uncomfortable. I didn't like that at all. But integrity first, so I pushed through. I finished the book, and the story is there. The world is there. What she's trying to do is there. My biggest suggestion, just my opinion, like everything about these reviews, is to redo that part where the rape scenes happen to just like a fade to black. The big burly men grabbed a hold of her. She screamed out in pain, and the reader's mind will fill in the blanks. I don't need you to fill those out. Like I said, it was not super descriptive or anything like that, but it was descriptive at all, and it was just like, nope, I get it. I didn't need to know that part. You could even just started off, she's escaping from her captives and stuff after being in the sex trade for 8 years, and she runs into this guy, Jin, who helps her out. That could be it. And then when he asks her, what are you running from? I've been, being used for my body since I was 15 years old. How old are you now? 23. That's all the reader really needs. They're going to get it. Their minds will flesh that out. There's no reason to paint that picture. And it's super off-putting, especially in a book that's supposed to gain interest from your readers. And to be perfectly honest with you, anybody who can read that part and not feel disgusted is probably not someone you want to associate with. Yeah, I'm going to call you out right now. I don't care. If that offends you, good. I hope I never meet you. There's the line in the sand for tremendous book reviews. But getting past that, and it does happen early on in the book. Once you get past that, the characters of Ali, Jin, and the world that she's creating, and the magic, and how demons and angels and all that work out, and it's a short book. It's very truncated. The timetable is very truncated, so you're not getting a huge portion of the book. You're not getting a huge amount of detail or anything. What you're getting is just a sampler. Like here's the world. Here's what I've created for you. Are you interested? It gave me a real underworld type of vibe to it, and I liked that. I liked Underworld. I did. So I enjoyed that. There are vampires in this one. There's demons. There's angels, and she sets up all the ground rules, all the foundation, everything about it, and I liked it. I could definitely see getting into this story, but unfortunately, and I know this is biased as hell, because of that, the rape scenes that are it's too much for me. I'm gonna give this one a 2.5 star out of 5 because I didn't like it. It killed the story for me. If it wasn't for agreeing to do the review and read the book, I would have put it down in a fire right then and there. I'm sorry. I'm not trying to be mean. The author is very talented. There's no real grammatical mistakes. There is the use of like linking verbs a little bit too much. Maybe just have an author gloss over it, but it didn't hurt the story. It's more of a preference thing really than any kind of policy breaking or rule breaking or anything like that. It's well written. It's all the substance that she needs that sets you up for this bigger, grander story, which I believe is what is the plan is there. This will be an excellent series. I think it's just that particular part really turned me off of the story overall. I'm sorry. I cannot keep my integrity in check and give this thing any higher than a 2.5. And just get rid of that part. Gloss over it. You don't need to paint those pictures. There's some things, even in dark fantasy, maybe I'm missing it. Feel free to jump in the comment section, tell me I'm way off here, and I'll happily, let you believe that. I just don't. I can't get past it. I've been struggling with it for over an hour now. Just as it hurt the overall story for me. I could not let that part go. It disgusted me. And like I said, I mean, you can hear it. It's what I've been ranting about this entire non-spoiler section to review. So I'm going to play an ad real quick, and then I'm going to fire off into the spoilers and let you know what's going on there. So if you're interested in that, check it out. If you do want to check out this book, it's going to be in the description. I highly advise you skip the first 20 pages or so, 15 maybe. just when you get to that part, just kind of skip a few paragraphs. Because I don't know. I couldn't handle it. Here comes the ad. Buckle up. Everybody knows as a self-published author, it's hard to find a solid group where you can get the answers to all your questions. That's when I found Self-Published Book Groups. It's a Facebook group, and the link is in the description. Totally worth it. Check it out, especially if you're a self-published author. Spoilers coming up, so if you're still here when the music stops, it's on you. All right, so you're still here, so let's get into it. So, like I said, the book starts off, and the girl Ali, she's like 23 years old, and she's running away from her captor. She's escaped. She's running down the street. People are looking at her because she's a streetwalker. She's a prostitute, and that's how she's dressed. She's all beat up. She's disheveled. She's scared to death, trying to get away, and her pimp is coming after her. She runs into this guy named Jin. Jin seems like a regular Asian-esque guy, I believe, and he's like, what's wrong? What's going on? Like, he realizes she's in trouble and she needs help, and she's like, help me get away. He's like, are they chasing you? She's like, yes. So he puts her in a car and gets her out of there. She escapes thanks to Jin. He feeds her. He kind of knows what's going on, but he's being real careful with her and everything like that. Picks up some fast food, which she devours because God only knows when the last time she ate was, and takes her back to his apartment, which is not a huge place. It's very clean. It's sparsely decorated. It's about 600 square feet, I believe, is how it's described in the book. Not a terrible place. He's really kind to her, real gentle, real slow. Kind of gets the story out of her, and that's. I'm going to gloss over this. He talks to her, what's going on, are you, are you a working girl? And she's like, yeah, since I was 15. And that's when you get her backstory. And that's where the rape scene happens. The 15-year-old girl gets raped. And how it all happens, yes, her parents are garbage. The author 100%, no, my parents were garbage. They're always arguing. They ignored me, which is how she ended up hooking up with these horrible people. And that's when you get some descriptive stuff about what's going on. And that's when you get that scene that is awful. It happens a couple of times. Anyway, after you get past that, she kind of explains how she got away. One of her John's, one of her clients or whatever, new guy, didn't realize what he was getting into, helped her escape. But he went one way, she went the other, and that was it. That's how she ended up with this guy. So he is like, yeah, take your time. He tells her, go ahead and shower, bath, whatever you need. I'm going to go out and get you some clothes. What size are you? Yada, yada, yada. I'll get you all the girl stuff I can think of. And then afterwards, you come and go as you see fit. But I really think you should talk to somebody like a therapist or whatnot. Of course, she's not into that, but she goes and uses, the restroom, and he leaves to go get the stuff. He comes back with the stuff. She's still there, and she's grateful, but, she's damaged. She's very damaged. And it's understandable. So she comes back, and basically she's like, who are you? Why are you helping me? Yada, yada, yada. They kind of, get to know each other a little bit. And he basically tells her, I am a demon. I am a fallen angel that was stuck in what's called the pandemonium. And doesn't really describe what the pandemonium is, other than that's where God banished this guy, the angels that turned from him, basically. Instead of going to hell, they went to something called pandemonium. Again, 88 page book. It doesn't last very long. So you're going to get a shortened version of the backgrounds and stuff, of course. Anyway, he's got magic, he's got skills, he's got money, he's powerful, he's got friends, and he takes pity on her and says, I can have you join us, basically. And he does the weird vampire thing where basically he slits open his arm, he slips open her arm, pushes them together, and a few minutes later she's called an unfallen, which is basically a fallen angel who's now a demon but fights on Earth to basically make life better for humanity. And I, for one, think they're doing a terrible job, but I think maybe Jin knows that. Anyway, I'm sorry, I couldn't help it. She is then, of course, the training montage. Months go by. She learns how to sword fight. She learns magic. She learns the rules and how everything works. And eventually they are introduced to Jin's former lover, a fellow fallen angel demon guy named Karu or whatever. I guess when they came onto Earth, when they escaped the pandemonium and got onto Earth, they came out in Japan. And there's a few things that kind of like little plot holes there. It's called they joined a group called the Oni, O-N-I, and that is what the Unfallen are called in Japan. But then later on in the book, it says the Tanka or something like that are what the Unfallen are called in Japan. Just small things, just something that caught my attention. Not a huge big deal, but just a little snafu, or maybe I misunderstood. Not 100% on that one. And just basically, the guy Jin and the guy Karu they fell in love, and it took years and years and years while they were on Earth doing some pretty heinous stuff because they didn't exactly start trying to do God's work right away. In fact, Karu never does. Karu is 100% still a bad guy, demon in the truest sense, while Jin is trying to be more like do God's will. Not because he has any hopes of getting back into heaven, but just karma. He's like, I'd rather do something good until either I die or the rapture happens and God ends me, whichever happens first. So, okay, all right. So, the reasoning, the drive is all there. Why they're doing what they're doing is all there. So Allie and him, it's kind of like this weird romance thing happening between them. She really wants him, and you could tell he wants her, but he's not letting her too close because he's been burned in the past. He got married to a woman in Japan who the Karu guy had assassinated. I mean, literally, her throat gets slit. Things of that nature. So he's a little gun shy when it comes to romance. Also, Karu is there. While him and Allie's are running around killing minor demons that are all over the planet or whatever, they run into Karu, and Karu kicks Jin's ass. Allie's gets a drop on him and cuts his head off, but just like anything else supernatural, you have to either burn them up with hellfire or burn their heart with hellfire. But again, the author is establishing the rules and the foundations and stuff like that. Kind of like book one of Harry Potter, only this is much, much more condensed. And I like that though. The world is interesting. The characters are interesting. The people are interesting. The rules and the lore and everything like that. You could really get lost in this book. I have no issue with that whatsoever. Unfortunately, the child rape scenes in the beginning, although I know I said it 100 times, they are very, very briefly described. They're described, and that really turned me off of the story. I'm sorry. I know it's just I can't get past it. I cannot get past it. Literally, my suggestion, like I said in the non-spoilers, is she is, she's found by Jin. They get back to apartment. What happened to you? Since I was 15 years old, I've been, in the human trafficking thing, and he's gonna go, oh. I understand. And that's all you need to say. The reader is going to be able to fill in those blanks. If they can't, they're too young to be reading your story. I'm sorry. Just my opinion. I think that would 180 this book 100% and make it a lot better. Because, in my opinion, most readers are going to get to that part, put the book down in the trash because it's going to immediately offend them. Same as if in the first couple of chapters of a book you read, you had to read a paragraph of vaguely described puppy torture. I mean, most good-hearted people aren't going to be into that, And don't get me wrong, I'm a horrible human being, but that's too much for me. Torture adults all day, but there's just no reason to describe that kind of stuff. Not the kind of thing I'm looking for. So, unfortunately, just because of that, I cannot say that I like the book. I cannot give it a 3 or higher. I have to go with 2.5. I'm sorry. I know some people are going to think that's unfair, but I'm trying to be as honest as I possibly can. And that's my opinion. Feel free to check out the book. You can get it for free if you join our mailing list, or you can get it for $4.99 paperback off of Amazon. Both links will be in the description. Feel free to check it out. Tell me that I'm crazy, agree with me, disagree with me, tell me to get over myself, whatever. It'll be a fun conversation. As always, that's going to do it for this book. It's a shorter one because it's a shorter book. Like I said, if you have any questions, comments, concerns, or complaints, feel free to put them in the comments section below. And as always, thanks.